Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Formula 4. Yeah, and tonight we go all the way to Montreal in Canada for round 12 of season 1 on the PlayStation 4 console. As the 19 of us here tonight, as well as myself, Yestin Thomas, will be guiding you through all the action of all of qualifying and hopefully 35 laps of brilliant action here at Montreal. So Montreal is a 2.7 mile circuit with 14 corners. We will have 35 laps tonight. Obviously, it's a 50% race distance. Obviously, you'd have 70 laps in the real life event. And the lap record is held by Mercedes driver Valtteri Bottas with a 1:13.078. If you missed out on the last race, round 11 at Monza, well, you missed an absolute clinic, and it was Blaze who came out on top in that one, winning after going on the alternative strategy by going back on the softs and taking home the race win with Glock, who is now a championship leader, joint championship leader. In fact, he finished home in P2 with the infamous Pillars in P3. Talking about the championship, like I did mention, that the fact that Glock is our championship leader, but he's joint top with a certain Droftas, who is technically in P2, with Alan P3 and Pillars running out the top 4 as the qualifying session is now underway here at Canada. To the pots, you have Glock and Droftas in pot 1. They're battling out for the pot 1 title. In pot 2, you got Alan leading that one, with Paulie Orange and Andenge not that far behind. In pot 3, Matteo is top in that one in the Nintendo, so all 4 pots are topped by Nintendo drivers. So Matteo dropping top in pot 3 with all shot down in P2. Then Chewy top in pot 4 with 85 points. It's been a good season for Nintendo as they all drivers top the drivers standings, and in the teams they are ahead as well on 564 points, with JCB in second. Then there's Jaguar, then there's MTV, and still BMW at the foot of the constructors, even with a race win last time out. As the drivers, 19 of us here tonight, as they all come out. Well, hopefully they'll all come out for an out lap, as we're on board with ice streams here. Slow down to let someone go by. As, welcome everyone. Hope you're having a good Monday evening, or Monday afternoon, or Monday or Tuesday morning even at some parts of the world. And I just need to wait for drivers to set their laps, as there's still a lot of them on their out laps. Bit of a dueling going on between the JCB and the Jaguar. I think they find the furthest car in front. So we'll go on board with Streams, I believe. Yeah, Streams will be the one we will go on board with. In Montreal, there's the Wall of Champions. I wonder how many drivers will fall victim to that here tonight, as Streams, with Paul Watson right behind him, in fact, starts on his lap going into turn 1 and turn 2, the tricky chicane, which is can catch many people out, in fairness, as he goes down this little mini back straight where Nick Heidfeld had a bit of an incident in 2011. But at the exit there is a Nintendo of Glock. Our championship leader is out in qualifying 1. This is breaking. This is brilliant. Well, not brilliant for Glock, obviously, but this is going to spice up the championship and the remainder of this qualifying session. Glock has shown some brilliant pace over the last few rounds. He is out to Q1 after a mistake on his out lap, which is going to be bitterly disappointing for him as Streams continues his laps before going into the turn 10, I believe the hairpin is. There's a little kink here that is classed as turn 11 and 12, I believe. That's technically a mini chicane before opening the DRS and going down the back straight. And Pillars sets the first lap with a 1:08.671 with a championship rival in the wall. This is a brilliant opportunity for Pillars here tonight, as here comes Ice Streams in the JCB. It's a 1:10.2 that puts him in position 2 as things stand. Welcome all. Please, if you have joined, you have missed out on our championship leader putting it in a wall, and I can tell you for now that he's put someone in the Discord chat, which I will not repeat live on air, otherwise I'd most probably won't be able to be back here next week, as Blaze, in fact, it takes the top spot with a 108.1, and Denge there as well. He's fifth in the championship after a fifth place finish last time out. He's set a 108.8, and Energetic 6 has fallen victim as well. That is at the exit of turn 2, going down into turn 3, where the BMW car has retired. So the second victim of the qualifying session is Energetic 6 in the BMW, and that is a great shame, as we've already lost 2 of the 19 drivers. Currently they're supposed to be participating in qualifying, and 2 of them are already gone, as Matteo puts himself P5 with a 109.5, and Nico Car, again we have a couple of reserves. Nico Car as well as Bannister, who's back for a third race. What can these do too? Obviously the reserve team are having a bit of momentum now, with a couple of races with them being in the cars. Obviously they were looking for a full-time seat if allowing, obviously, but the reserve car will be done for now. Look, a bit of traffic up in front. There's a BMW, a Jaguar, and I couldn't see the car in front of that, but the Jaguar gets out the way very nicely. As if you all join in, they've missed out on the cracker of a 5 minutes, and not the entire grid is set a lap time yet. As here's Nico Car coming into the final chicane for opening the DRS, and he's looking to come across the line, and he'll set a 109.666, puts him P6, and hopefully there'll be other drivers setting lap times, as we unfortunately lost. As we wait for drivers to set qualifying laps, as Total Peas is retired, but that looks to be in the pits, so that should be him done for Q1. So as Paul Watson looks to set a qualifying lap, and he will with a 111.4, puts him in P10. And all shot down as well. He's invalid on his first lap. We might see many of that this evening. Invalidations on qualifying laps. There's Chewy. He's about to start a lap, as everyone is now joining into the stream. A couple of retired cars, including Glock, but here's Chewy. What can he do? He has not retired. He's on a qualifying lap going into turn 2. Make sure he gets a nice exit, doesn't put the floor down too early, and he'll be fine when a fast 3-4 chicane. Make sure he doesn't lock up or cut the corner. Goes through 5 and 6. There's a free-flowing, flat-out complex for the corner, where Sebastian Vettel threw it away in 2011, and he will be heading down the second DRS straight. Evening, Ryan. And it's a bit harsh of calling Canada hating this with a passion. I believe it's a very nice track, if I say so myself. Chewy goes down this little mini back straight. Obviously we saw Robert Kubica crash here many years ago. As we go into the hairpin, a double lock-up on those softs, the C5, the softest tyres possible here at Canada. Chewy looks to go through the third DRS zone here before going down into the final chicane, where he might be greeted with a wall of champions, as he looks to hit the chicane alright. That's not too bad. He doesn't take the 7, which will put him P7 for now, as there's still a couple of people out setting laps. There's LP and Alan, who are yet to set lap times so far. As X Gaming showing his support, and here's Alan, who's obviously formerly championship leader, so he'll be looking to set a lap time to put himself into Q2, going into turn 1. You have to take a lot of confidence into turn 1, and that's what you need. And you need a lot of confidence into many of these chicanes, otherwise you'll either run wide or invalid, which is not very good in Formula 1. That's a solid first sector from Alan as he opens the DRS. His Pillars retires in the pit lane, I believe, so it should be good for Alan here. He swoops through the fast right left before going into the hairpin. hopefully he can get a good lap time in. This looks good so far for the majority of the lap. Just need to make sure he gets the last chicane right. And, Ryan wants some rain, which would be very interesting indeed. As Alan enters the last chicane, runs a little bit wide, but that'll do. It should be good enough, and it is good enough. A 109.157 puts in P5, which is a fairly respectable lap time. As others, including Allshot down, invalid his first lap, but he's on a run here in Q1 with 8.5 minutes left, going to the fast right left in the middle sector before going down into the hairpin. This is a really tricky braking zone. You want to brake around about 100 metres before before braking, and make sure you get that car turned in and accelerate really nicely going down this back straight as he opens the DRS, and make sure you brake in enough time for the final chicane as well. Let's see what Allshot Down can do in the BMW. Obviously bottom of the constructors, and here comes the BMW, puts himself P6 for the 109.4. That's a very good lap from Allshot Down. It is impressive as other drivers just looking to set laps. Sloth and Chazza setting up times as well as Bloomstar. As here's Chazza into the hairpin. What can he do in the MTV car? Who sit fourth in the constructors as he goes down the back straight, opening the DRS. One of 3 DRS zones in Canada, and he enters the chicane in 5th gear. Oh, very close to the wall of champions. He's going to come across the line. It's at a 108.7, puts in P4. That's a good lap time, just behind pillars there, but good lap time for Chazza. As we still wait on a couple of drivers. Unfortunately, we've lost Glock, who retired early on, and Sloth is on an out lap, and many of the drivers are in the pits, so it's a little bit dull at the moment on track, but it's surely going to spice up a bit. We might have some action, especially near the end of this qualifying session, as Sloth is preparing himself for a flying lap. I think he'll be acting like a sloth. Yeah, he'll be driving very quickly indeed if he wants to put a place into Q2. Gets very close to the world champions. Takes a shorter run to the line, which will help him for turn 1. Takes it into 3rd gear before shifting down to 2nd for turn 2. Then up the gears again before going to the 2nd chicane, which he'll shift down to 4th before taking as much curb as he can and entering exit before going into the 3rd chicane of the lap, where he takes it down in 2nd. You'll need to shift up quickly up to 4th and up to 5th now, and up the gears again through the DRS zone before taking the next chicane. 5th or 4th, he takes it in 4th, runs a little bit wide. That could be his qualifying session in trouble, and now is a tap to the wall and an invalidation for the MTV car, and it's a disappointment. It looked really good up to that, but it's unfortunate for Sloth. He goes into the pits and takes the speed limit sign with him as well. So, still waiting for Bloomstar. He's about to start a lap. I also see Blaze out here as well. He's on an out lap as well, so he might be looking for an improvement on that 108.2, well, on 108.1, which would be impressive indeed if he could get the job done in this, especially with the championship rival of him with his out in Q1. Let's see what Bloomstar can do in the JCB. He's looking for the lap time that's good enough for a spot in Q2 as he enters the chicane, the fast right left, before putting the throttle down again before going into the hairpin. Does need to find an improvement as he exits the hairpin, looking for a good qualifying lap here. And Droftas saying last the first challenge for El Glocko, which is very fitting indeed. We look forward to seeing what you can do from the back of the field as Bloomstar looks to set a qualifying lap, and he does with a 1:10.2 and 2 puts in P12 currently. And Streams is doing a bit of lawn mowing at the exit. Oh no, that was someone else doing a bit of lawn mowing at the exit of... Oh, it was Streams. Oh, there we are. There's something wrong there. There's, you see what Xerxes can do in the MTV car. He will go P12 with a 1:10.1. So went for other drivers. LP, Sloth still haven't set a lap time yet. So he'll be looking for one in the remaining 3 minutes here in Canada. LP's got a teammate of Andenge in front of him, which could give him a bit of a slipstream. There's fairly competitive lap times between the top half. And, maybe an improvement from LP and Paul Watson will be needed, but LP's invalid there on the final chicane, which will be a big disappointment. Didn't improve, but it's a big blow. What can Paul Watson can do? And Blaze retires. That doesn't look to be on track, so I think he'll be okay. Let's see what Paul Watson can do in the Jaguar. As he locks up in the hairpin, that could be costly. A very costly hairpin there. He could lose a lot and gain a lot of time. I think he has lost a bit of time there. It did help his exit in fairness, the double locked up before going into the chicane. Hairpin, and now going into the chicane. Looks like someone's taken away the 100 metre board, which could be vital. And see what the Jaguar can do. It is P15 with a 1:10.8. A 1:10.8, and that's good enough for P15 for now. As other drivers look to set a lap to keep themselves safe from the drop zone. I think it will be the top 14 or 13 going through. So you could say Chewy could be the safest. Outside the top 10, so you definitely need improvements from the drivers below Chewy. He's in P11 at the moment. Let's see what Streams can do in the JCB. He exits the World Champion with plenty of room there. Could have pushed a little bit more. There'll be a 1:09.7, puts in P12, and he's about 100th behind Chewy, so that'll do him a world of good. Let's see what Paul Watson can do. Oh, he's locked up, and it didn't look like an invalid lap time over the bunny hops. He must have lost some time, but it's an improvement to a 1:10.4. LP's lap doesn't look to be good enough. As what can Sloth do with 45 seconds left? He hasn't set a lap time yet, so he'll be needing to set one as quick as he can, and he should be on course for one yet. Unless of an invalidation in the last chicane. Here he comes. That is an invalidation. That'll could prove costly, but they have enough time to set another lap, which he does. That would have put him comfortably. That'd put him in the top 5. That lap time would have, but an invalidation says otherwise. So he goes again, going into the second chicane, looking for an improvement. Well, looking for a lap time actually after the last one was invalid, and that looks to be invalid as well. So Sloth is out in Q1, which is big blow for him, as well as Glock and Energetic 6, who didn't set a lap time after retirements early on. And I believe LP will definitely join him. I'm not too sure what's the situation with the other Jaguar. As well, it's disappointment for Sloth. He did need to cut that. He just lost a bit of time and sacrificed a couple of tenths, and he put him safely through. But he is out of qualifying and will start down in P18, which is a real shame actually for the MTV driver, as we wait for everyone to return to the pits or cross the checkered flag, which it looks like we have. We wait for the mechanics to put the cars back in. There'll be certainly some disappointing drivers there, but some that will be very happy with how Q1 has got. But yeah, so it says that everyone's crossed the line except for all shut down, so I believe he could still go out if he wanted to, but I don't think he will, because the checkered flag's out and the timer is counting down, and here we are. Here's the end of the session. So Blaze tops it with P's not that far behind, just about 3.5 hundredths. Then there's Pillars, Chazza within 6/10, and Denge there. Then there's Alan. Then there's Matteo, all shot down. Bannister, Nico Khan in the reserves, doing well in the top 10. Chewy, Streams, Boomstar, Xerxes, Paul Watson survives and out in Q1. LP, Energetic 6, I Am Sloth, and our championship leader Glock, which is definitely the surprise package of Q1. And now the top 15 will go into the second part of qualifying for the 15-minute session. So Q2 is underway in Canada, as the top 10 will progress into the next session, with 5 further drivers being knocked out. As we wait for drivers to come out and set their hot laps, will any of them go onto the medium compound of tyre? I am not too sure, but the drivers emerged now. And I believe they might see a couple of them. Someone really quick like Blaze or Peas might go out on the mediums just to set a banker lap, and then they'll debate whenever they should start on those mediums. There's how many stairs? Oh no, it's Blaze who's the first one out on track, and he's opted for the softs, so he's opted for the quicker tyre, which obviously has less tyre wear than the medium. But that is what the tyre he has opted for here in Q2, as the drivers just get themselves around the track on these outlaps. As Blaze, which is he's a couple of places down the championship, but he'll be happy to see that his championship rival is out in Q1, and a fellow championship rival is not here in Droftas. As there's a bit of an incident there between Blaze and Bannister, but no contact, fortunately, as the BMW was warming up his tyres to start another qualifying lap. We will go on board with him as he looks for a place in the top 10. He goes to the DRS, and across the line he comes, looking for yet another Q3 finish as he exits turn 2 gradually, but he gets on the power, following for turn 3 and 4, which he doesn't catch, which doesn't very close to the wall there on the outside. But obviously Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel nearly came together, which cost the German of a race win not so long ago in 2019. And as Blaze goes down this DRS straight, heading into the right left, which he doesn't need to invalid, which he doesn't. That's taken very nicely. You can see Total Pieces out in the mediums as well. Blaze enters the hairpin, and he stays in third gear, which is very interesting. Zandeng sets a 108.7 on the mediums. See what Blaze can do on the quicker tyre as he heads down this straight Another DRS rate before going down into the final chicane. Shazza with a 108.6. That looks pretty clean from Blaze. What's this going to be? A 108.1. That's a very good lap. And that puts him at the top of the tree at the start of Q2. There's total P's as well. He's on the mediums. His bunny's there set at 10.1. That's a bit slow. Might even put off the really good lap of Blaze. Let's see what P's can do. But it looks like he is on a warm-up. Well, it's certainly not a quick one because he'd been deploying DRS there. And he waited until the DRS zone to do that. So this won't be the quickest time we've ever seen, but I'm sure he'll have enough in the tyres to go against. 11.4, puts in P5. And P's goes again in search of a spot in Q2. All shot down in Chewy, both been in the top 5 there with lap times on the softs, which is interesting to see as P's looks to improve on that first lap, which is looking good as he is going down into the fast left right. He needs to be committed here, doesn't need to invalid out there. That looks okay to me as he goes down another back straight before going into the hairpin. Make sure he has to brake the right time of the hairpin. That distraction in the Nintendo car might affect him. And as we welcome Luke again, who's been on commentary duties this evening, he is back in the reserve car tonight, hopefully. Unless he's got some wacky livery for us, it'll be very interesting to see that. He will start in P20. As what can P's do as he opens the DRS and comes across the line here. It'll be a 108.5. That puts him P2 on a set of mediums. That is a very good lap. As we still wait for a further 7 drivers to set lap times. Christmas Pillars being one of them. But that's an invalidation which will could come in costly near the end. As Matteo in the Nintendo as well as Alan, who's on the mediums. So the man who struggled last time out at Monza, he's on the mediums and he sets a 109.8, puts in P6. He's looking to make sure he can get through on that set of tyres into the top 10 shootout. He's still waiting for a few drivers. Nico Carl's by the start of lap. Xerxes on the out lap. Matteo is on a lap. And that's a valid one as well, as there's a car getting out of his way there. Going into the hairpin. Before opening the DRS. Going down this back straight. Many overtakes going into the final chicane. We expect that tonight with these lot. And hopefully we'll have a good race in our hands. Matteo opens DRS again to come across the line. What will this lap time be? A 109.5 puts him P5 for now, in front of Alan, but obviously Alan's on the slower tyre. As we're still waiting for Infamous Pillars, who's on a valid lap this time. So will this one count on the set of medium tyres to get himself into the final part of qualifying? He's down in P15 and last. Obviously there's still a few more drivers yet to set lap times, so it's not just him as he enters the final chicane now, looking for an improvement as he comes across the line. A 109.3 puts in P5, but hopefully that will be alright for the MTV driver, but it could be very close near the end. There's still 8 minutes to go, and his Nico Car puts himself P5 with a 109.3, which is a very good lap actually from the reserve driver. He'll be looking for a place in Q3 as well as Xerxes and Paul Watson. Xerxes going down the back straight, which is set to be a valid lap, but I don't know if it's a competitive lap as he heads into the final chicane, looking to floor it, which he's done an okayish job at. This will be a 1:10.6. That's the slowest lap time we've seen so far. As we still, and Paul Watson is had a bit of an incident there. His front right suspension is collapsed on him apparently, but this is brilliant free-wheel driving. But this is going to be a lap time, a 1:13.3, but this is invalid. And look at that, his suspension's completely gone. That car shouldn't be out on track. It's obviously some sort of glitch, but it's brilliant to see a bit of free-wheel driving. Obviously with the tyre pointing the other direction when you turn into the corner, so it's a bit scary. But it'll leave a lot of rubber on track, a lot of markings with that, and most probably a nasty flat spot on it as well, which obviously won't help proceedings at Jaguar. As the free-wheeled car is still on the lap, which I find fascinating. As he enters the hairpin, as all shot downs unfortunately left the session, which is a big shame. But this is brilliant to see, the free-wheel action, and well, he's going to be entering the final chicane in not so long, and here he is. Can he actually get himself into Q3 on free wheels is the important question, as he comes across the line. A 1:10.6, that's P14 for now, and he runs wide at turn 1, and his tyre is still not back to normal, which is a bit weird, but very funny indeed. As we still wait for a couple of drivers, we'll be waiting for Bloomstar to set a lap, and we're still waiting to see who will be knocked out. Obviously the top 10 go through to the next part of qualifying, with hopefully some good lap times near the end here, as Streams cuts the chicane. It looks like he got away with it there, as Chaz has retired in the pit lane, so he thinks he's had enough to book himself a place into qualifying 3. But there's still 5 minutes, and a lot of things can change in those 5 minutes, and hopefully they will tonight. And yellow flag in sector 3, but that is for the slowing down of Ice Streams, who's just being kind and letting people back. And hopefully the JCB does get back into the pits. Hopefully he'll be able to put a new set of tyres out and set a lap time. And so as it stands, Streams will be one of 5 who'll be leaving us at the end of this session, as well as Bannister, Xerxes, Paul Watson and Bloomstar. So 2 JCB drivers there leaving us at the end of the session, which would be a bit of a shame, but there's some good lap times elsewhere. And some drivers go for the gap, and Bloomstar is one of them. So he comes out, and some drivers from the pits and look to set a qualifying lap. As hopefully we'll be able to produce a good race, and hopefully we'll have a good Q3 session, which will be brilliant to see. As Bloomstar is warming up his tyres before setting the all-important qualifying lap. He needs to get in the top 10, which will be a 109.8. Oh, not even that. 109.7 as things stand. He'll be looking for a pace in Q3 as he opens the DRS. As also time returns to the lobby. As here comes Bloomstar into turn 1 and turn 2. Looks to exit from second gear as quick as he can, which he does, and he flies down into the 3 and 4 chicane, which is looked okay so far. Maybe a snap of understeer, maybe a snap of oversteer there, which could have cost him as he enters the next chicane, and he looks to exit and open the DRS for flying down the DRS zone, going in to the right left, and he's just about kept that one valid on the left-hander. That looked to be an invalidation to me. And X Gaming is checking with Glock if there's any rain, but I'm not too sure on that one. And Danger Tyres in the pit lane. That will be him done for the next 2 minutes. He'll be able to sit up and watch the qualifying action unfold. As here comes Bloomstar looking to come across the lines there. I believe it's a Jaguar in front of him, I believe. I'm not too sure what that car is. Extreme's in front of him, who's sacrificed his own lap. Bloomstar, who goes across the line, and for P13 for the Jaguar. And it looks like he will have to have another crack at that one if he wants to get himself in the top 10 as it stands. We're losing Elon. It would obviously be a big miss in Q3 if the man that obviously originally went out on the mediums was to be knocked out here, but hopefully he'll be able to set one in. And here he comes. This will be a 108.5. That's good enough for P2, and that'll be good enough for him to put himself in the top 10 for the next part of qualifying. And hopefully he will be able to pursue on that and hopefully push for a pole position finish in Q3, as we still got 50 seconds. There's a few drivers who need to set lap times here. Infamous Pillars down in P9 is looking maybe for an improvement on that lap time to make sure he can get himself into Q3. There's a bit of a gap between him and Chewy, but it looks like the Pillars down in P9 is always dangerous, especially with track evolution improving and stuff like that. That could easily play a factor. Xerxes pops himself in the top 10 in P10 with a 109.676, as he'll be looking for an improvement here in Montreal. All shot down needs to get to the line as quick as he can. He's only got 14 seconds, and that could be very close to seeing him qualifying session. It could be over by the time the 5 seconds is up, and I don't think he will make it. So that's all shot down out of this qualifying session. That is Streams out of this qualifying session. That is Paul Watson out of this qualifying session. Bloomstar is on a lap, but that is invalid. So that's him out of this qualifying session as well, as he retires on track. So Xerxes survives with that last gasp effort that puts him in the top 10. A brilliant turnaround from the MTV car, who is only a couple of tenths off Infamous Pillars. So a pot 4 and a pot 1 driver very close to each other out on track, which is exactly what we do here in Formula 4. This is why we all tune in every week. This is why I commentate on the league. So someone like Xerxes, no offence to him, he's not the fastest of drivers, but he is doing a phenomenal job here. He is bottom of the pot 4 championship after some incredibly harsh luck earlier on in the season with DNFs and sometimes maybe a lack of attendance in races. But he's within a couple of tenths of Infamous Pillars, who's third in pot 1 and is fourth in the championship overall. So that's brilliant from Xerxes to get himself in the top 10 and a place in qualifying 3. So hopefully he'll be able to push on from that and continue that into Q3. As usual, the classification for Q2, Blaze and Alan qualify on the softs and take first and second. Total P's just behind on the mediums, so P's could be a favourite for qualifying, as well as Chazza in the NTV car, and Denja in P6. Then there's Nico Car in P7, Matteo P8, Bannister, Matteo P7, Bannister P8, Infamous Pillars on those mediums in P9, and Xerxes in P10. Unfortunately, departing us from this qualifying session is Chewy, all shot down, Ice Streams, Bloomstar, and Paul Watson. So we're in for an intriguing qualifying 3 finish here. An intriguing qualifying 3. It's not finished yet. And who are your predictions for Paul? I will not throw predictions in like normal, because I'd like to hear what everyone else is thinking ahead of the final part of qualifying, as we hope for a tantalisingly close session. I'm just going to quickly grab myself a sip of my water. There's a bit of rain there in Canada. That looks promising. Maybe a bit of intermediate conditions, or will it be a mad dash to get a quick lap time in on the softs? I'm about to have a sip of my water so my voice doesn't go near the end as qualifying 3 gets underway. as the rain is spitting down here, and it looks like all Total P's, my apologies, is gone out on the softs. So he thinks it is good enough for the dry tyres, as the rain is, obviously you can see it on the TV screen, on the TV pod here on the Jaguar. Will it be enough time for him to go out, set a lap time, and come back into the pits? Well, him just set a lap time, he can drive at 2 miles per hour if he wanted to, if the rain is bad enough on his in lap. But will it be a case of going out as quick as you can and setting the lap time in and getting yourself as high as you can? So we could have a real mixed bag here in qualifying here, as Xerxes doesn't come out, so that could be crucial for him. Maybe he's ran out of tyres, which would be a big shame for the MTV car. Did really well to get himself into this qualifying session, but it's unfortunate for him as he won't be coming out, as the rain pours here in Montreal, as Total P's is going to be the first one to set a lap. So we will go on board with the Jaguar driver as he comes down into turn 1. Obviously braking will be a little bit trickier with the rain, a little bit of a distraction as he exits turn 2 before going down into turn 3 and 4 chicane, looking for improvement, and it looks like it just about got that close next to the DHL signs on the wall there as he crosses the sector 1 cutoff in 19.4 according to the Codemasters games. Obviously it's going to be a purple sector because he is the first driver to set a sector time in this session, as he goes in to the chicane, the quick right left in 4th gear, just about keeps it through and exits very strongly before going down this little mini straight before heading to the hairpin. Lots of opportunities to overtake. This is a main attraction zone for the drivers to overtake, and he exits the hairpin quite nicely. This looks good from Total P's as he opens the DRS for the second time of the lap, but there's obviously been opened down the back straight, as he will brake for the wall of champions. Will he get this right, or will he invalid? He's got that one okay. Little flick of dirt there on the grass, but he's opened the DRS. He comes across the line, and there's a 109.529. So obviously lap times have worsened, and obviously lap times has worsened with the rain, and Gav showing his support for everyone. He's unfortunately not with us tonight, which is a shame. Obviously we all enjoy Gav's inputs on these races, what he thinks about them. Hope he has a brilliant day, Gav, and enjoy your Monday evening, whatever you'll be doing, and hopefully we'll be seeing you again next time out here in Formula 4, as lap times have tumbled here. Chazza in P2, Aylin in P3, Blaze, who's obviously been setting the paces, in P4, and Denj P5, and Nikrokar in P6, the ones that set a lap so far. As we have Bannister, who goes P7 with a 1010, that's not right, 110.994, as we still wait for Xerxes, who's out on the softs. He might have left it a little bit too late to set a lap time as the MTV car. We wait for Matteo, and we wait for Infamous Pillars on board, with Pillars obviously 4th in the championship like we mentioned earlier on, as he goes down the back straight before heading in to the final chicane, but he dives into the pits instead. He doesn't think it's worthy enough to attempt the final chicane in these conditions, as the rain looks to come down a little bit faster, a little bit more thicker than it did at the start of qualifying session, and that could be it for all drivers, in fairness, with the rain coming down, and that, I don't think we'll be seeing much more lap times, which is a great shame, in fairness, with this, the way that this qualifying session panned out. You were looking for a really fun and exciting end to this Q3, but the rain might have said no to that, as Matteo comes across the line. So 111.3. Track conditions are definitely getting worse, and I do not think we will see an improvement from anyone in the remaining 7 minutes. Xerxes out on the outlap, of course. He's down in P9. He's obviously going to be out qualifying Infamous Pillars at the moment, which is I think he'd want the qualifying session to end right now. I think he will have a pop at a qualifying lap, as well, looks like the rain is still there, as you can see on the I believe it's the TV pod offset camera modes I have got on the car, on the cars, as Xerxes really struggling to put the throttle down. You can see the rain, the conditions is affecting this lap, with traction gonna be an absolute nightmare on those softs, because they're bad enough in sunny conditions, but these stranger conditions are going to be even worse for the soft, especially there'll be cooler conditions, and it's going to be worse for the people like Xerxes now, because he will have to try and nurse the car around the lap and make sure he doesn't find a wall or anything as he goes down into the hairpin, as it's looking good for a lap time, but I don't think it'll be a reasonably quick lap time for the MTV car. And it looks like as he goes down the back straight here, it's not going to be a pole position lap time, and in fact he will complete the lap, but unfortunately he is invalid. It's a little bit too greedy there on the inside corner of the final chicane, so that lap will not count. Because Pillars is in fact gone on one as he starts one going into turn number 1, as he looks for a lap time that is good enough maybe for P5 if he can find the right areas of traction and make sure to get a lap time in, but it looks unlikely that he'll be starting in P10 as Xerxes let him by. Very well, nicely done from the MTV driver. It's a quicker first sector than what Xerxes did, so that is a positive for Infamous Pillars as he opens the DRS. DRS still enabled in these changeable conditions. We're still waiting for a message. If the rain gets harder, we will see a message from Risk Control saying that DRS will be disabled and will not be in use. But for Pillars here, it is definitely enabled, and he'll be using it next to the hairpin, hopefully, going down the back straight. A little bit wide there, which could cost him a lot of time as he opens the DRS before going down the back straight here in Canada. And what can the MTV car do? He's obviously P4 on the standings. He'll start on the mediums in the race. And will this be a lap time? It won't be pole, I don't believe. It'll be far off pole, I think. And it is a 1:11.4, so track conditions are getting worse and worse. And Ryan's calling it, saying that it should have been the race, which is, well, that's unfortunate for you, Ryan. But he just got to hope for the same in the 35 laps ahead, so I cannot see any improvements in the remaining 4 minutes, as Chaz thinks he can't find an improvement on out on track, and he'll most probably be on board with Pillars. Aylin's retired as well, so there's 20% of the grid gone, and hopefully, and Page retires as well. So this qualifying session is going to be done really quickly. Would be nice if everyone retires now, because I can't really see an improvement from anyone here in Montreal, and it looks like it'll be total P's. He was the first one to come out on track, and that track position has helped him massively, as he looks like he's going to claim yet another pole position here at Canada, and the track conditions are just not going to be improved quick enough for drivers to go out and set laps. Blaze is in fact out on a lap time, and the conditions are getting worse as he bounces across the chicane. That's an invalidation if I've seen one before, as the majority of the field are now retired, which is a great shame because this isn't the way I certainly wanted the qualifying session to end. I wanted to be right down to the very last minute, but unfortunately with the conditions it's ended like this, and Gav is showing his support for the Geordie juggernaut, which is Chazza, which has put himself on the front row there with the lap time as Blaze retires. There's still a couple of drivers who are yet to retire, and Chazza is obviously going to be extremely happy with that lap time. There has put himself P2 on the timesheets, and someone just tell Xerxes to retire. We can save 2.5 minutes of pointless waffling, and we can get on with the race. That would be very nice indeed, and we hope that someone can pass the message on to Xerxes, because I will be in need of a sip of water if I carry on waffling. And there we go, he is retired, and that's the end of qualifying 2, qualifying 3 with 2 minutes to spare, and it's total P's on a pole with a 109.529, not the quickest lap time, but the conditions played a massive factor. Chazza P2 in the MTV car, Aylin P3 in the Nintendo, Blaze P4, and Denge P5, Nico car in P6 with Bannister. There was 2 reserves very close to each other in qualifying sessions. Matteo P8, Infamous Pillars P9, and Xerxes didn't set a lap time, but he will start in P10 here at Canada, which is a very good result for him. and the equivalent of cricket, yeah, save your legs, save your voice. And obviously I have been keeping a stern eye on the cricket as well as other sporting events over the last few days. Seeing the cricket back on Channel 4 free to air was fantastic in my opinion. But obviously the Six Nations as well. That was very good. I enjoyed the rugby this weekend. That was good. I enjoyed that one, especially with Wales winning, and obviously Scotland winning the Calcutta Cup, which was let's just say I celebrated that one just quietly Saturday evening. But we do not talk about the rugby or the Test match cricket in England and India. We talk about Formula 4 as it looks like a lovely day, race day here at Canada. The rain from Q3 is gone, and we look to have a clean and dry race, and hopefully we will be able to have a driver as ready up before the formation lap. Obviously we got Glock down in P19, a championship leader down in P19. The man joint top with Glock is not here tonight, so we could potentially see a new championship leader in the making with this race. Obviously a little bit jumbled up of a grid with Chazza. Chazza is he's in pot 2, I believe. I think he's in pot 2. I will double check on that one. And Chazza obviously out qualifying pillars by a long way there. Obviously the track didn't help the pot 1 driver at all as the drivers get away with their formation lap. And yes, Chazza is in P4 in pot 2, and he is starting P2 in the actual grid, which is brilliant to see. As obviously Sloth and Energetic 6, obviously as well as Glock, didn't set a lap, and obviously that is Luke in the background. Then in P20 he is joined late after some commentary duties at other leagues that happened before Formula 4, and I believe personally that everyone should come and tune in for Formula 4 every week, because this racing is very fun and enjoyable to watch, and you get to listen to my wonderful and weird voice for an hour and a half on a Monday, which I'm sure you'll all appreciate and enjoy on a Monday evening as the drivers warm up their tyres ready for the race start. This is the formation lap, obviously, because they'd be driving quite quicker if they were in race mode, and obviously they're on the formation lap. Everyone is weaving those tyres to make sure they are in good condition for the start of this Grand Prix. And well, in fairness, we got the top 2. Obviously they gambled on the medium in Q2 and it's paid off. Well, they're both on the mediums, with the 2 behind them, Raylan and Blaze, who could get a better start off the line. They're on softs, with Andenge in P5 and on those mediums. And obviously out of the top 10 you've got Chewy also downstreams all on the softs, then you've got Bloomstar on the mediums, then Paul Watson and LP on the softs, with Angelic 6, Sloth, Glock and Luke all on the mediums, as they have all lined up on the grid here. Hopefully we don't have any technical faults as we wait for the 5 red lights to illuminate here at Canada. We've taken the thing off, so we might have to press it a couple of times, and we are 5 lights and away we go here at Montreal. And it's Pease who looks like he's got off to a better start here in Montreal, and is going to be quite close going into turn 1 there. I think everyone's remained unscathed as Pease has looked to have a really good start there. It looks like there's a bit of battling going on in midfield. Glock is gaining a position on Paul Watson. I Am Sloth going up to P13 from P17, I believe. Or P18 he started. That's a brilliant start for I Am Sloth. He's up to P10. Now, what a start that is from the MTV car, as there's a bit of nearly a free bite action going on there between Blaze and Andenge, and Andenge hooking it round the outside of the chicane there. That is a very nice move, but Blaze will have something to say about that as they go into the hairpin for the very first time, and Blaze will just about hold behind, or will he, as they go down the back straight. This should be side by side action. Blaze on the softs, Andenge on the mediums. It's lap 1, boys, do not make contact, and it looks like Denge will survive for now, as Pease looks to be in control with a bit of a back end loss as they say that. Lacar squirmed around then as he ends lap 1 and starts lap 2. Glock is down into P20. That's not a good start for a championship leader. He has lost a bit of his front wing, so the starting on the mediums has not worked out at all, and he has to come in for an early pit stop. And what can Luke do? Obviously he joined late with the other commentary events going on in his world. He joined late in Formula 4 during qualifying, so he's up in the P19. He's gained a position, and well, he's behind Paul Watson and Xerxes. A disaster of a start from P10. Such a good qualifying, but a disaster of a race start. Someone who's had a brilliant start is I Am Sloth from P18 to P8, and he's got Nico Carr in front of him looking for P7. So those mediums has worked very well for I Am Sloth, and it's not worked so well for Xerxes, as Sloth looks to go down the inside into the hairpin. Medium against softs, and it looks like the medium will prevail in that duel, and Sloth moves up to P7. What a start that is. Next on his hit list is Infamous Pillars. Could this be one of those races for Sloth? Meanwhile, there's a bit of action going on at the front, but Total P's lead is around about 1.2 seconds as DRS gets enabled by race control as they start lap 3 to 35. Here goes Blaze down the inside of Alan into P3, into turn 1 as Infamous Pillars is the first driver to pick up penalties. You might see many of those tonight. With the nature of the circuit, you can easily cut some corners and pick up warnings. I know Chazza is getting very close to the wall there, but Blaze back up into the podium positions in P3 with Alan down in P4 and Denge staying in P5. And there's a bit of a... well, we will start to see the DRS train form in the midfield, I believe. And it's all behind Bannister, I believe, the reserve car in the Formula 4 reserve car. All white and black, that livery is. It's a tribute to Formula 4, in fact. As LPE is the second driver to pick up the penalty for corner cut in. It's all shot down in the BMW, looks to go down the inside into the hairpin. Getting very tight behind with a couple of Nintendo cars on Matteo and Chewy, but are still on board with all shot down. As he goes down the back straight, there might be some overtakes behind actually. There's a yellow flag in the last sector, and Blaze has fallen victim to the Wall of Champions. A back end loss, reminiscent of Kevin Magnussen in qualifying a couple of years ago. And Blaze is out of this race after a brilliant qualifying session. He's not happy. Safety car has been deployed here at Canada, and Blaze has left the session in rage. He is out at the end of lap 3, and we already have a very early safety car and a chance for the people on the softs to come into the pits and get off those softs and go on a far better race tyre. And Pease's 1.92 second gap is now all gone because of this safety car. But it's time for us to unwind. And after such a disappointment for Glock, who started this race so well, battling with Denge, and obviously got in front of Alan as well and got himself up into the podium. And he's put in the wall, or the exit of the wall. The champions Gav is looking for Droftas with Glock out of position, but unfortunately everyone, Droftas isn't here tonight, which is a big shame, and Blaze is retired as well. So we have a couple of big hitters going here tonight. Obviously Blaze was struggling a little bit in the championship down in P7, but this is a brilliant opportunity for the likes of Infamous Pillars and Denge to capitalise, as well as Alan as well. Don't forget about him, he's in P3 here. There's a couple of many drivers come into the pits at the end of lap number 4 as we're on board with Pease, who is behind the safety car here in the first sector. Some of those drivers include Xerxes with a disaster of a start. Paul Watson here and will be jumped just behind Xerxes. You've got the Bannister. Nico Glock is still down in P16, I believe, on those softs. That's backfired because he pitted at the end of lap 1 for a new wing after being involved in lap 1 shenanigans, and he's gone to the softs, and then the safety cars come out. That kind of ruined that plan, I believe. He wanted to run a little bit into the race on those quick tyres to get some overtakes done, but it's not worked out one bit there. Aylan's got rid of those softs and put on the mediums, so he's down in P9. Headed at 6 has obviously stayed up in those mediums. All shot down is obviously still out on the tyres. He started them as well as all the medium runners, in fact, which obviously Total Pigs and Chazza started 1-2 after the Q2 where they went on the mediums. And Gav, I fully accept your apology. That is fair enough if you missed that out with Droftas not being here tonight. It is a reasonable excuse if you joined late. But we are under safety car conditions, and we wait for the safety car to for everyone to bunch up under the safety car. And it's Luke who is he's one of the last ones. He's coming into the hairpin now, and the safety car is just exiting turn 2. So he's got a fair way to go to catch up as the reserve car, but I'm sure he will catch up quite quickly. As here is one of the joint championship leaders, Glock, down in P16, yeah, and he is hoping to get himself definitely in the top 10 here tonight if he wants to get something out of a disaster. A qualifying mistake in Q1 sent him packing for that session, so he'll expected for the rest of the qualifying. And he had a bit of an incident at lap 1 which saw him to change the wing. He's down in P16, so that's not looking good for him at all. And obviously Sloth is the big winner out of this. He's obviously stayed out on those mediums which he started on, and obviously a couple of drivers pitting. He's up to 5th. That man started down in P18. He didn't set a lap time in Q1 because the amount of times he had set an invalidation, and he's somehow up into P5. That is a brilliant start for I Am Sloth in the MTV car. As we're going to see the safety car come round for one more lap, I believe, which will give us a couple more minutes to relax and chill. Oh no, it's coming in at the end of this lap, so Pease will effectively be the safety car as Bernd Mailander trots off into the distance. You can't see him now because he's in the pit lane, as Pease is warming up those tyres, hopefully. And when will he go is the important question. He's gone. That's him gone. And he's going to get some sort of run before going into the final chicane, which will help him as we're underway. We're back under green flags here in Canada. Total Pays leads the field going into turn 1. And he's looking to extend that lead that he had. 2 seconds he had before the safety car came out. As they start lap 7 here. And it doesn't look like there's much battling going on. As Bloomstar also down a bit close then. As Xerxes still a mistake. And Luke is overtaking him. And Xerxes, a brilliant qualifying session, but it's not worked in the race, so the spin there, that will cost him, as Glock is looking to come back on here. He is in P16 with ice streams in front of him, looking to get the move done. DRS won't be in use for the opening couple of laps with the safety car restart, but I don't think Glock will need it as he overtakes, going down into the fast right left, and he'll get the move done before the corner, which is a very encouraging start for the Nintendo car. Meanwhile, the midfield battle is holding a little bit close, as Bloomstar's overtaking. Oh no, Bloomstar's holding up a little bit of a train here, and Engine's getting close to the back of Chaz there. Because he started in P2, the Geordie Juggernaut, as Gav likes to call him. He is in P2 and he's holding well there in P2. He's lost about a second and a half to Total Peach, who's had a very good restart on those mediums. Obviously, the top 5 are all on mediums, but here's an opportunity for Andenge to get himself into P2. Get Andenge up into P2, but obviously Pillars is behind as well, so Chazza could easily play the hold-up game and help his teammate out here, which would be a little bit tactical from MTV. Obviously, they need every point as they can get, as ice streams and all shut down. Both pick up penalties at the same time, really, as they pick up penalties for quarter cutting. Meanwhile, Aylan will look to get the move done on Bloomstar, but he won't get it done yet. Meanwhile, back to Glock. He's still down in P15 behind LP, but LP runs a little bit wide of the chicane. Here's an opportunity for Glock as they go into the hairpin. Will he get the move done? He goes to the outside line, and Paul Watson's unfortunately left the session. Might be a bit of internet issues there, or the hand of Paul Watson. Aylan gets the move done on LP, and Aylan gets the move done on Bloomstar. Glock gets the move done on LP into the hairpin. Zealand be looking for the move around Genetic 6 now as DRS has been re-enabled here at Canada. As the scrap for second is heating up nicely. And talking of total P's, he is 2.1 seconds up the road and is having a very comfortable start to this Grand Prix. And Droftas is in work, which is obviously a gutter. I'd much rather be league racing as Andenge joins the penalty club with a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. That will help Chazza, who will be looking to keep it clean so far in these opening 9 laps. And it's looking good for him. Will he potentially get a Formula 4 podium here tonight? Because of the expensive penalties, as Pillars looks to get a move and run the outside of Andenge, as Chazza now picks up a penalty. Moments later, praising him, he gets a penalty. So there's the commentator's curse for you. And Pillars dives one down the inside. A little bit of contact, but I think I'll be fair. And Pillars is going to be a drag race going down into the back straight, but Andenge has looked like he's saved some ERS, and he's got the ERS off the back of Chazza as well, so that is very good news for the Jaguar car. As Aylan's got very close to Engine 6, he's got alongside Engine 6, and he's got past Engine 6 and up into P7, and oh, Engine 6 has lost it there, and that's him in the wall as Matteo picks up a penalty. But Engine 6 is having such a positive start, and he retires on track. It didn't look like he had damage that would sustain a retirement, but he says he's had enough. I'm sure the stewards will look into that one. I'm not sure what the rules are regarding retirements on tracks, as he's left the session. He's had enough as Glock picks up a 3-second time penalty, and in the midst of Engine 6 spinning, we've missed an overtake for P2 as Andenge has gotten in front of the MTV car of Chazza. So maybe Chazza will let by his teammate as Nico Carr's overtaken Bloomstar, as Bloomstar's definitely losing a couple of positions as Barney Stair runs a little bit wide. Opportunity for Glock, who's gained a couple of paces against his teammates of Matteo and Chewy, as he's looking to get himself into the top 10 on those softs. What can he do as they go down the back straight as yellow flag in sector 2? I think that's Xerxes on an absolute disaster of a race. After a brilliant qualifying session, Bannister's going to run very short there as Nico Carr picks up a penalty. But Glock can't quite get anything done. And here's a battle for P2. It's brewing here as Chazza looked for moving on Denge but couldn't quite get the move done, unfortunately, for the MTV cars. And Denge stays in P2, and we have a Jaguar 1-2 and a MTV 3-4-5 as Chazza lets go his teammate Pillars and moves up into P3 as I Am Sloth picks up a penalty for exceeding track limits. And well, Bannister has unfortunately lost a little bit of time there. Promotes Glock up in the P10. Maybe a bit of a loss at the back end, or maybe a tap from another driver which could affect them as Chewy picks up a penalty for corner cutting as Glock looks to overtake Bloomstar here. But it doesn't look like anything will happen. We might see an overtake between Allsworthtown and Aylan as they go down the back straight. DRS open for the former championship leader. And yes, Gav, it could have been a dream scenario for Droftas. Aylan gets past Allsworthtown. Glock gets past Bloomstar. Matteo follows suit down the inside into the chicane there, so that will do nicely for Nintendo, obviously constructors leaders. And surely it's time for the softs of Allsworthtown to depart this year in Montreal, but he's still out there on lap 12. And Paul Watson's left the session again, unfortunately, as Sloth has come into the pits, and he's got a set of soft tyres on, so he'll be looking to stop here tonight. And LP's had a bit of a off there, so he's down in P18, and it looks like Pillars and Andenge will look to go battle again. 5 seconds Pease has got, and Pease has got the penalty advantage as well, which is a brilliant sight to see if you are a supporter of Total Pease. And Pillars is looking for a move around Andenge as Bannister overtakes Bloomstar for P10. But what can Pillars do here? He's got DRS. Obviously Andenge hasn't got any DRS. He'll have some slipstream as well going into the final chicane. Andenge goes slightly defensive, but doesn't force a mistake. He might have forced a mistake on exit. And here comes Pillars as they start lap 13, and Pillars gets the move done into P2, and All Shot Down does pit, so that promotes Glock up into P6. So it's been a good recovery drive after a front wing change at lap 1, and he's got Alan in front of him and not that far ahead either, which is a good sign for Glock in the Nintendo after qualifying down in P19 after the retirement very early on at the opening stages of Q1. And we still wait to see what will happen between Andenge and Pillars. Will anything happen, of course, as Gav is showing his support for the MTV car, and he looks for yet another podium here this season. Meanwhile, there's not much else going on. As I say that, Chewy is overtaking Bloomstar. Bloomstar's really struggling here in Montreal, and Streams gets past him as well. That might have been a bit of a left bite. Just teammate just led another driver through. And we'll be wondering when will Glock go into the pits for a new set of tyres. He'll obviously have to pit on those softs. They cannot go to the end of the Grand Prix, and I know that from experience, and it's just, well, really common knowledge in Formula 1. The softs won't do the majority of a race distance, as Gav is still showing his support for Pillars. He's still in P2, as Matteo has a bit of a squirmy exit there on exit. We still wait for battles across the field. It's all quieting down a little bit, except for the scrap for P2 between Pillars and Andenge. And P's is 6.5 seconds. That gap is increasing lap on lap. Paul Watson's had some internet issues in this Grand Prix. He's glad to see he has rejoined us here in the lobby. He's down in P16 at the moment. And with the way that the if you leave the lobby works, the AI take control of the car, and the tyres are in. They keep the tyres in immaculate condition. I don't know how they do it, but it's brilliant. If you rejoin the lobby, your tyres are barely worn. It's brilliant. And well, we're still waiting for overtakes, but hopefully we'll get one soon, as the field is spread out a little bit. As I say that, Streams could have an overtake on Chewy here going into the hairpin. I don't think he'll go for it here, as Chewy runs wide a little bit, but I think he will have a look going down the back straight. He'll have the assistance of DRS, and he'll have his ERS as well, so he needs to use that in attack. She will use a little DRS he's got in the fence, as Streams goes down the inside into the last chicane and moves himself into the top 10, very close to the wall on exit. That might hinder him as they go down the back straight, but it looks good for Ice Streams as he's in the top 10 for JCB. Meanwhile, Bloomstar's lost a few more positions. Bloomstar's in the pits, that's why. And Sloth on the softs is that's a good alliteration there. Sloths on the softs, that's brilliant. And Luke is behind him in the reserve car, looking for a move. Meanwhile, Pillars is getting close to Andenge again. Will we see an overtake for P2 as they break into the hairpin? Chaz is holding his own with Alan just a little bit behind him. It's not danger threat for the MTV car at the moment. As what can Pillars do? Can he get the move done? He should have saved delivery of ERS. He's got none left as the MTV car, but he's going to go around the outside, is he? He's going to force Andenge into a mistake and a corner cut and a penalty. This is the opportunity now for Infamous Pillars to go down the inside. They start lap 16. Into turn 1 they go, and they get the move done. A little bit of contact, sidepod and sidepod. Even more contact there, and Andenge loses out. But Pillars gets the move done and into P2. And there's also a pit stop for Chazza. He's unfortunately had a bit of a front wing change there. He's running so well in P4, but now he's going to rejoin around about P14, which is a big shame for him. But obviously he will help Glock massively. He's up to P5 now. He's 3.8 seconds behind his teammate Alan, but obviously they will both have to pit. Well, Alan doesn't need a pit, but I think we will see Alan in the pits again before the end of this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, out in front, Total P's is having the world. He's got the world on his own. Sebastian Vettel-esque so far from Total P's. There was obviously in the Jaguar. We did have a Jaguar 1-2 at one stage. It's a Jaguar 1-3 now, with Pillars overtaking Andenge. But will Andenge fight back on the MTV car? No. MTV car Infamous Pillars goes in the pits for a change of tyres. He wants out on those mediums. He looks to undercut the drivers in front as Glock pits as well, but picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That could come in crucial near the end of the race as Ice Streams picks up a penalty for corner cut in. As Alan is actually not that far behind on Denge. This could mean a 3-car battle for P2 if Alan can get himself up in the mix. And well, obviously Glock will come out in P13 and Pillars will come out in P4. Well, Pillars has come out behind Glock. That is unless there's a front wing change on the MTV car. It's been brilliant for Glock, and he's jumped into his Pillars and he's behind Chaz, who's picked up another 3-second time penalty. So we'll keep an eye out on that one as Chaz is trying to get past Streams, but he's a bit too far behind. Alan and Denge is the next scrap we will be looking at, as it's getting very close between Glock and Chaz. I don't know if they'll get the move done in going down the straights. I don't think they will, and I don't think these two will either, as Denge is the next one to fly into the pits. He jumps in the Jaguar as Alan is promoting the P2, and Pillars has got the move on Luke, who he fell behind it momentarily, and he'll be looking for a slipstream on Glock. Will he be able to get the move done going into the final chicane? I don't think he will, unfortunately, as Denge will come out. Where will he come out in the context of all this? Pillars and Glock battling. Has Glock worked? And Glock, it has worked for Glock, as he overtakes Chazza, gives Chazza a bit of a squeeze there. I think Chazza will be disappointed with that one, but Glock out with a P10, that's definitely worked. He's jumped on Denge and into his Pillars in the span of a couple of laps. That will do him a world of good. So the pitting onto the softs has worked wonderfully, as a race leader Total P's leads by 11 seconds in front of Alan in P2 and Matteo in P3, but a couple of drivers still yet to sort themselves out with pit stops and stuff like that, as we're on lap 18 out of 35. We are past half distance here. Time has flown by here at Montreal, and it's been a very good race what we witnessed here. Can all shot down, get the move down on Streams, going down into the hairpin. Streams under a little bit wide. Surely an opportunity for all shot down to capitalise on those softs, as Pease comes into the pits for a set of soft tyres actually, which is very interesting, and all shot down looks to have got the move done on the JCB, and Pease comes out in P3. Will it be P2? He's got around the outside of Matteo on those softs and up to P2, as Glock and Luke pick up time penalties, as Glock set the fast lap of the Grand Prix on those medium tyres. But that is what Pease wanted. He's well out of well ahead of traffic in front for the likes of Pillars and Glock. And obviously with still drivers yet at the pit, and he's only 5 seconds behind Alan, so this is going to be a bit of a disaster for Alan, really, out on those mediums. He'll be losing time most probably everywhere out on this track with the new rubber that Total P's has got on those tyres. The gap's already gone down to 4.5 seconds. This is a really good race if you are Total P's in that Jaguar, because he is driving very well after that. He was the first to come out in Q3, and it looks like it's paid off big time as the midfield scrap here is fascinating, as Glock goes around the outside the Streams into P8. Pillars would want to follow him into P9 as these Streams left the door open here, and they will be going side by side. They will both have DRS because they were in DRS, I believe. Yes, they were. But it looks like his Pillars will come out on top there for the overtake, and Slot picks up a penalty for exceeding track limits. Meanwhile, here's an opportunity for Slot into turn 1 against Banny Stair, but it's not quite the move that he wanted. Oh, they've got very close there at turn 2, but I don't think there was slight contact, but not enough to warrant any front wing damage, as Banny Stair does very well. The Slot hits the wall on exit, as he'll hopefully they'll bunch up the rest of the field here, as Total P's picks up his first penalty of the day on lap 20 for corner cut in. He is 2.2 seconds behind, 2.1 seconds behind Alan. So obviously we're still waiting. Well, potentially Alan could hold these out, but I can't see that happening, unfortunately, for the Nintendo car. Meanwhile, what will happen in the midfield? What we will see is all shot down, diving on the inside the Slot. There's a bit of contact there, both come together, and Glock and Pillars have both overtaken each other. Well, they've both overtaken the pair of them, and Glock will have the slipstream on Bannister here going down the back straight, and it looks like he'll get the move done So that move from all shot down has kind of cost the pair of them. And Buddy's there, dives into the pits, but Glock is round. Glock is round there. There's a mistake. He cut the chicane a little bit too much, and he is unfortunately round. And that could be costly in the context of this race. Another mistake from Glock, which is very uncharacteristic from himself. And he is down and round and down into P12. Meanwhile, Pease has caught up to the back of Aylan really quickly. Here on lap 21 out of 35. And well, Glock is down into P12. Where all that work he's done to get in front of Pillars, but it's all fortunately all gone. As this should be a simple move for the race lead coming up between Total Pease and Aylan as they go down the back straight. Pease will have DRS. Chazza picks up yet another 3-second time penalty. The penalties are racking up now for all drivers as Pease gets in the lead here at Canada, and he'll take the lead and he'll look to pull away a healthy 3-second gap so he can win out on track as well as he starts lap 22 out of 35 here at Canada. And Matteo in the Nintendo car pits after 16 laps, so Aylan's obviously gone a little bit longer, as well as Nico car as well. They've both done well as Pillars will regain that third spot, and Denge has been very unfortunate with the pit stops. In fact, he is behind Pillars, and he would be hoping he can get an overtake done in the remaining laps of this Grand Prix. They're on lap 22 out of 35, and we're still waiting for Aylan to come in to make a pit stop, but it's Total Pease in the Jaguar way out in front so far. The Negro car comes out in P14, and Glock is still in P10, so it's not that bad of a result for our championship leader, but that work could have been a far higher position, could have been P2, could have even been a chance of a scrap for the race win near the end of this Grand Prix, but that mistake of the exit of the final chicane has cost him big time. And Chewy and Matteo, the two Nintendo cars, looking for another scrap as they go down into the hairpin. And Chewy runs a little wide, which will open the door for Matteo a little bit as Aylan comes into the pits. What will that leave the former championship leader as Matteo looks to get the move done on his teammate, which should be straightforward. He's the quicker driver at the moment, is Matteo, and he gets the move done going into the final chicane as Chewy dives into the pits. And Aylan will come out next to Chazza, and he'll be just behind Chazza. So Chazza's done well to keep himself in P4 here at Canada. A very good showing here by the MTV car, and it's a very good job. I was reading the chat then, and Gav was saying how that Glock is human, and well, he is. We've seen that tonight with a mistake early on in qualifying and a mistake here tonight. And Pease is 17.5 seconds out in front. He's looking to extend that race lead as he's got a teammate in front of him. That's either going to be Paul Watson, and it was LP, in fact, who's just dived into the pits out of his way, causing no harm there. As our race leader starts lap 24. Meanwhile, Sloth has overtaken Bloomstar for the slot of P12, and Aylan has overtaken Chazza. So the new tyres of Aylan, the mediums, have worked well, but Chazza will not lie down on that one, but he won't use any ERS as they come across the line. So Aylan will stick to that one as Matteo gets past all shot down, who is in the pits for a new set of tyres, and he will come out down in he'll come out, hang on, let me find him. He'll come out, here he comes. He should come out around about P12, I believe, or P13. He'll come out in P13. Yeah, he should come out in P13, and he has, even though the mistake. Glock is still in P7, so it's not all curtains for him. Meanwhile, Andenge and Pillars getting close again, but a little bit far behind these two now to battle for the race win. And but they'll still have a personal battle themselves, who will clinch P2 in the race. There's still not much else going on. Chewy's overtaking the Slot. In fact, Slot might have had a bit of a mistake there as he's lost position to Streams as well. So he was out in Q1 as well. I am Slot. It looks like he has suffered front wing damage as there's been a battle in the reserve car between Luke and Nico car, and hopefully they've resolved their issues, and it's given an opportunity for Shot Down to squeak into the top 10 maybe, if he can get a move done going down the back straight, but he's a little bit too far behind as Luke in fact dives into the pits for a new set of tyres, or maybe a front wing change as well if it's not gone to plan there. Meanwhile, Alan is trying his best to catch up to both Andenge and Infamous Pillars. Obviously a new set of fresh set of tyres compared to the two in front of him, as he's hoping he can catch up and overtake them on penalties. As it stands, I think that would be the case. I believe, well, obviously Pillars and Andenge both have penalties. I think they have enough that obviously would fit in that 2.2 second window, so Alan would be P2 as things stand at the end of this Grand Prix, but there's still plenty of time for that to change here at Canada. If you're all enjoying, please leave a like if you haven't already, as Luke picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. And we're coming down to the business end of this Grand Prix. There's unfortunately not many battles going on. Everyone's pretty straight out unless you are Infamous Pillars, and Andenge's Glock picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Chaza comes into the pits. That might be another set of soft tyres, and it is, as winding down here on lap 26 out of 35 here at Canada, as Bannister looks to jump the Chaza in the pits. Nico Carr tried, well, they both tried it, and it's going to be Bannister. Looks like it's going to come out on top. Action here for P7. Will Chaza get the move done? No, he will not. The reserve car will hold out for now, and it looks like he'll get the move done, and it looks like keeps P7, but we'll come back to that. But will Andenge be close enough this time going down the back straight? Well, I don't think he is, unfortunately. He's harvested a lot of ERS though, so he should be able to use that to his advantage quite soon. He's actually outside of the 1 second window now, so he might have to use that ERS to catch up, which he will need, as Paul Watson picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Meanwhile, Chaza is not his P7 isn't safe yet, with Bannister behind him, who's shown some good pace in his 3 races here at Formula 4, and certainly doing the reserve team proud as he looks to go down the inside into the final chicane, and he's messed that up, and the line will help Nick Ricard, his reserve teammate behind, look for a move going into turn 1, but he won't get the move done just as yet, as he runs a little wide there as they go into turn 1. And there's still not much going on. As I say that, Bloomstar's pitted, so Chewy is up in the P11 and Streams is up in the P12. But there's another pit stop for Bloomstar. It was a mixed race so far. He was running up near in the top half of the field, and Peace picks up at the end another penalty. That's his second one of the day now, as he starts lap 28. He's looking to just bring that car home and get the win, as Streams picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner captain, and then still needs a catch up to Infamous Pillars, and there is Elon. He's lost a little bit of time. The gap is down for now 3 seconds, as both Andenge and Pillars both pit, so they are fed up with those tyres. They want a set of fresh tyres, preferably the softs, as Chaza as well as not Chaza. No, that wasn't Chaza. That's another MTV car. Must be Xerxes or someone. Must be Xerxes, I believe, a lapped car. And Pillars stays ahead of Andenge in the round of pit stops. So they're on fresh soft tyres, which will certainly target Glock. We've seen in this race that Glock is prone of doing mistakes, and those two will want to force the championship lead, well, the man that's joint top in the championship, to do a mistake and basically throw the race away. His Pease is out in control here, even though he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties. His lead is around about 22.8 seconds, as he's miles in front in reality compared to the close battles we've had so far this season. As Chaza picks up another penalty, but will Pillars and Andenge catch up to Glock is the important question, which we'll see in the 3 remaining laps as the reserve battle carries on, as Nico Carr sends one down the inside of Bannister going into the hairpin, but Bannister will want to fight that one. I don't think he will, but they will. But I think it'll be Nico car with the DRS, so that will give him a bit of a confidence boost going down the back straight. As Andenge and Pillars catching up slowly to Glock. The gap is now 3.6 seconds. I can see from that as Chazza pits again. There's a very unfortunate race for Chazza. He started so well up in the top 4, but he's down now definitely in P10, might even be P11, and he'll come out in P11. That's a disaster for him really, because he had such a good race. And yeah, like Roftash was saying earlier on, a great triple overtake by Glock, and then that mistake cost him. But the gap's down to 2.5 seconds now, as Pillars and Andenge are certainly catching up with the Nintendo car, which could mean we might see some battling very soon, as Pillars is behind Xerxes, so Xerxes just needs to pull out the way so those two can be let go. And obviously giving Pillars a bit of DRS there, so that will certainly help Pillars in the aid of the win. And I believe we've seen a mistake from Total P's, our race leader. Yeah, the gap is down to 6 seconds now as Pillars sets a fast lap at the Grand Prix. But all that talking about Pillars and Andenge, I believe Total P's has done a mistake. Oh no, he's not. I take that back. He has not done a mistake. Sorry to shock you all. He's made a pit stop for a new set of softs, so he's gunning for the fastest lap. He thinks he's got enough on Alan to win this Grand Prix, but obviously if he picks up another penalty, then it'll be Alan's Grand Prix to win, which would be brilliant to see for the Nintendo car, who's obviously in pot 2 this season. And the gap now between Glock and Pillars is now to a second, and it's very close. There's Andenge picks up another penalty. His penalties are racking up now as we enter, as they're on lap 30 out of 35. There's not long left, but we will see some battling soon. And Matteo is on for a very unlikely podium, but there he is. Here we are. So scrap the film, Jim. Matteo Glock, who was obviously on those mediums, and as well as Pillars and Andenge on the softs, the fresher softs. As they start lap 31, Glock with another mistake there on exit. As we start lap 31 out of 35. Obviously, Pillars is more in front compared to these lots. But can Pillars... Peas is in front of these lot, not Pillars. Pillars is in P5, and we're going to be watching him now as he looks to close the gap on the Nintendo car. He's going to get right behind him, hopefully get a nice exit from the next chicane, which is coming up very quickly indeed, as they look to get himself back on the podium, where he obviously was when he made the pit stop. He's got DRS. Will this be the move? It looks fairly simple to me. And Infamous Pillars moves into P4 in front of Glock, and Glock's at a bit of a slow exit there, which could help Andenge on those softs as well. Will he go down the inside into the hairpin? I think he will. I think he has, and I believe he has got the move done into the hairpin. A lovely move down the inside, and that will put him up into P5. And P sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, looking for the extra point or two that is given for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And and Pillars picks up a 3-second time penalty for quarter cut in there. That could come in costly at the end of this Grand Prix. And could we see Matteo on the podium as Glock is pitted, and Andenge looking to go around the outside into turn 1. Oh, look at this. Very close action here. And Andenge looks to have got the move done on Pillars. Oh, very close here going into the turn 3 and 4. Andenge picks up a penalty. Very close, Sebastian Vettel, Hamilton-esque. Yeah, at Montreal. Oh, and Andenge just tapped the wall. And that is him half round, and a friendly tap for the wall again, and Pillars survives. Very clean to the majority of it. Slight bit of argy-bargy contact, and obviously they might have not given enough room there. Pillars on the inside, but I'm not going to call and give anyone a penalty because that's not my job, and I will let the stewards decide on that one, because it looked very clean up until the right-hander, but I will not comment more on that, as Pillars looks to want a P3 as he wants to get past Matteo and the other Nintendo. He's already got past one, and Glock, will he get past the second going into the chicane? I don't think he will, as the exit. Will he have DRS? Yes he will. Matteo won't, so he'll definitely have some speed on him going into turn 1, but I don't think he'll get the move done, as he cuts the corner slightly there. That might result in a warning. but there's only a couple of laps left, and it'd be a brilliant result for Matteo if he could hold out for this P3, especially as he's not even a pot 2, he's a pot 3, he's our pot 3 championship leaders, Matteo, and he's shown some really good pace. His all shot down overtakes Nico Car going into turn 1 and gets the move done. Meanwhile, here comes Pillars from the outside. They obviously the same place where he overtakes Glock, but Glock has left the session. He is not happy with his result. He's down in P9, and I believe there might have been another mistake there, as he's down to P10 now. His Ghost Car, obviously, he is not happy with his performance tonight. A crash in Q1. He's obviously had a couple of spins here tonight, and it's been a disappointing night all around for Glock, especially with his championship rival Droftas not in attendance tonight, and it's been a disappointment for Glock. You know, Total P's on his penultimate lap. He is leads by 12 seconds to Alan, who's in P2. He will capitalise big time on this result with that P2 finish. And Matteo, well, it was Matteo, but it's now Infamous Pillars in P3, and Matteo P4 and Denj P5 with Banny Stair, Nico Car, and all shot down, obviously all together here. All shot down overtook the reserve car last time we saw this. The yellow flag in sector 1, and that is Matteo, who's unfortunately had a mistake there. He might have had damage to his wing, and Denj is up into P4. That will prove costly for the Nintendo car, and we will have 2 Jaguars in the top 4, as obviously Glock is coming into the pits for a new change of front wing, so he must have done a mistake at some point, and that's going to send him lower down the field here tonight. And it's all looking very quiet now, as Pillars runs a little wide, but he's comfortably clear of Denj. As Total P's starts the final lap of the Grand Prix, lap 35 out of 35 laps. One of his Jaguar teammates, which is Paul Watson, who's in P15, and he's driven solidly since he was knocked out in Q1. And as well as Luke as well, who's obviously, he started down in P20 and he's up to P14. Xerxes, bit disappointment after his shocker of a start, but a brilliant performance for him to get into Q3. And all in all, as we see, all shot down, look for P6 against Bannister, and all shot down in the BMW will get that move done after the early Blaze retirement. All shot down, he's done a good job for BMW to rack up some sort of points tonight after Blaze retired on lap 3, very early on in this Grand Prix. That felt like an age as the 2 reserve cars get together, and Nico Cara is the unfortunate one on that on the last lap, as he is sent round, and that is very unfortunate. Those 2 have kept it clean all evening, but a little bit of an incident on the last lap, and I'm sure they'll apologise to each other after the race. But here comes Total P's at the exit of the final corner. He took pole, and he will take the win. Euro Canada, a brilliant display, and Alan will look to keep P2 here, because he's the only one in the field that didn't pick up any corner cutting penalties. As Xerxes potentially picks up the last one. There is Alan in P2, and in P3 is Infamous Pillars, and Les and Denja Matteo has something to say for that. Here they come. It's going to be Matteo P4 and Denj P5. And all shot down is the next one to come across the line in the BMW. Will he hold out to P6? I'm not sure what the penalty count is like here in the midfield. As here comes all shot down. He's going to come across the line in P6. Bannister is going to come across the line in P7 on track, but it's P6 on the classifications. Nico Car P8. Oh, Nico Car P7. Oh, all shot down in P9 there, with Nico Car and Chewy overtaking him. Chaz in P10 after a front row, down in P11 after a front row start. Bloomstar getting into P10. Then there's Streams, Xerxes up to P11, and Luke is the last one to cross the line. My throat is certainly feeling the effects of that one. Yeah, at Formula 4. And driver of the day goes to Glock, which is kind of ironic after he went from 19th to something like you finished down in 15th or something like that. I'll check that one in the final classifications, but not a good night for him after battling so well in front of Pillars and Denj. Could have been on for a P2, but it's Total P's, Aegon and Infamous Pillars who have taken the spoils here at Canada, as the trophy presentation is taking place and the champagne is being shared amongst the top three and the constructors mechanic. Obviously, very unrealistic there that the mechanic doesn't get a bottle of champagne for himself, because that's what happens in real life Formula 1. But here is the podium here tonight for round 12 at Canada in Formula 4. It was Total P's who took the race win and the fastest lap. Aylan P2, Pillars P3, Matteo drove solidly in P4, and Denge P5, Bannister P6, Nico Car P7, Chewy P8, Allshot down P9, Bloomstar rounds out the top 10, Xerxes in P11, Chazza P12 after starting P2, Luke P13, Streams 14th, Paul Watson 15th, Glock Disaster down in P16, LP P17, Sloth in P18 where he started, put Angelic 6 P19, and Blaze and Angelic 6 both retired, which is a big shame for BMW. But this is where I will wrap up tonight's stream. A brilliant race here at Formula 4, and we will be certainly back again next Monday and in another absolute clinic. And I've been Yeston, and I'll see you guys next week.